Good morning, everybody. It is Marty, the JavaScript party. It is 8:07 a.m. in Marietta, Georgia. I start work in 53 minutes. Woohoo! So Rhett is here with me, of course. She's my coding buddy. She likes to keep it real. She likes to sort of make noise and stuff whenever things start getting too animated. Things like that. She's just trying to figure out her way to sort of contribute. Sometimes she's a bit noisy, sometimes she's not. So anyways, we're making really good progress. I'm really happy with the way things are. We've sort of organically evolved into having two kinds of services. One service is like a showtime and space service that sort of manipulates the state that we define that describes what we want to see on the screen. So it describes what we want to see on the screen in a way that we want to describe it for our needs, or for my needs. That's how that side works. And then the three services basically communicate to the ThreeJS API how to do things. And I don't think we haven't run into like a lot of logic yet where we have to manipulate things and do things. I think that almost all the logic in my mind, should end up in this ST world, and that this world here over on the three side should be pretty clean, but there will probably be some pieces of logic that need to go in there. So that's what I kind of expect to see in the future. So we've been moving through everything, and we have our stubbed out for everything that we're handling. There's a couple more concepts that we need to add in the future. One will be lights, and the other will be groups, at the very least. And then we have a whole animations section that's going to handle sort of these animations, and there is no animations, and I don't think there'll ever be an animations on the three side. So I think what will happen is like the three side will just re-render, and it doesn't know why or how things get changed. So that is that. So in the last video, okay, so right now what I was going to say was like, I don't know, about when my youngest son was about 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 years old, in that range, he got into the car one day and he goes, "Can you guys put the cartoon station on the radio?" I'm like, "There's no cartoon station. Where did you ever get that idea? What a strange idea, blah, blah, blah." And I remember thinking about that and thinking, it does make sense, because every other mass media communication scheme that he'd ever been exposed to had a adult version and a children's version, and generally the children's version was called cartoon something. So they were either cartoon books, cartoon books, or cartoon TV shows, or cartoon whatever. So he wanted cartoon radio, and so it made total logic sense. But the point is as we start to build this stuff out, what's happening is you can imagine things of where this application is going to go. And it's really important as a developer to be really careful with what you say at this stage of the development process, right? Like if you're on a team and things are starting to flesh out, like at first everything's just a big idea, and then you start to build all the pieces out, and then you start to find out some things maybe aren't realistic, or you might run across opportunities that no one really thought of before, and all that. So everyone's ideas are in flux at this point, and if you start saying things and you're very sloppy with the way you communicate, what can happen is anyone who listens to your words will apply their past experiences to what you're saying, and they may be completely a million miles off of what is even possible. So like as you're communicating these things, make sure that you're really, really careful with what's going on. But one of the things that I'm pretty excited about is Cypress. So we built out Cypress, and with the Cypress, I've been trying to figure out, okay, would I want to be able to make a Cypress script that updates these ThreeJS things, but you don't necessarily, you can't really see what is changing, like what's being changed. And so what I was thinking would be really cool is if maybe at the bottom here, so what I'm imagining is a bunch of these animations, and at the bottom here, like a bunch of like a div that has like a bunch of little squares in it, and if you click on like some, and one of them will be like a raw view of the all the JSON that you can physically manipulate. You can actually change the code, and if you were to click on it, that one takes over half the screen, the editor takes over half the screen, and then you can manipulate it directly. But I also did want the ability to manipulate it for Cypress to be able to manipulate it without opening it, so that we could see it kind of moving through and manipulating things. I just think it would be really cool video. So like I'm thinking in my mind about those things, but I don't know if they're exactly possible. But if when I'm communicating this to you, you may be in sync with me, and you might be understanding exactly what I'm talking about. But it's also and very reasonable that you aren't, that your life experiences have made the words that I said mean something different to you, and that if you're a computer programmer, it's very likely that you're in sync with me. But like, let's say you're a business analyst or a QA person or something, it may mean something totally different to you. And so I would never have said that in a mixed group, like a group of people that all come from different backgrounds. And I'm talking technically, not like culturally or something, but like technically you're all coming at it. You know, I wouldn't want to talk about that like with a VP and a CEO and a director and a QA and a BA, and you know, there's sorts of different types of people, because who knows what the words I'm saying are meaning to them. And no one's right or wrong in this. It's just like you just have to be very careful and explain exactly what the capabilities are, and then exactly, you know, what the options are. Now, fortunately, I am all those roles in this, so I understand all versions of are in sync of people doing this. So anyway, so I think the next step will be in our material. I believe the material service is empty, and we need to add that. Now the material service is really simple because there's just not a whole lot you could do with it. I know it gets like a normal, yeah, it's going to get a type and that. So what I've been doing is I'll go probably, I would think scene is similar. So we're going to copy that. Okay, so we absolutely know on this side we're going to need the 3. So I'm going to copy that one on its own over into the material service. So material is what describes the outside of this. And there are, as far as I know, there are 3 foundational kinds of material. There's this kind, which I believe is called normal. And then there's a different kind that's called, I don't know, I can't remember. There's one kind that is just the color, but you can't see it unless there's a light. And then there's one kind that is a Fong, which it's a color as well, but the light and the distance of the light and how far it is changes changes the way it looks. We'll definitely dig more into that, but right now all we do is normal material, I believe. Okay, so now we're going to need a dictionary, so let's go ahead and copy that line, and we can hit Alt left, the left arrow, and it'll take us back to where we were at. But we know that this is going to be our material dictionary, and basically it's just going to have an ID lookup that you give it the ID. There's an ID that we created in the Showtime, and it has this will return the actual ThreeJS material object for that. So like one thing I can imagine is, let's say we have 20, or let's say we have 4 of these animations side by side, and we change, and they're all using the same material, we change them, they should all change together. And that is one of the views I would like to do, is just like a list of materials, and maybe you could click on the material object and it'll highlight all of the divs, all of the visualizations that are using that material, and then you can modify it and you can see them all change at the same time, which I think would be a really cool effect. Okay, so let's go back to scene service. So we can hit Alt and the right arrow, and we're back to here. And basically, there's 2 functions. There's a create and a get. So now we hit Alt left, and we're back to where Alt left, and we're back to material. And so we can just paste this. It's kind of like boilerplate. We just go in here and just paste that, and then just go in and fix the alignments, because that freaks some people out. I guess there's something weird. I guess what happened was I grabbed an extra. All right, so now this is going to be create material. And I believe it's going to take an ID. Let's go into the app. Well, let's fix the obvious stuff. Okay, great, get material by ID. And then this is going to return a 3 material. A lot of people are very tempted to sort of abstract this and make it like where it's a get that can just return anything. I don't think that it's worth the mental overhead. Okay, so I did this because I believe there'll be, at some point, it's possible that there'll be some extra logic that will find itself between line 19 and line 20. And then when that happens, I definitely want to I would definitely want to be in a position to for typing to help me. So that's why I did that. Now I don't know what. So maybe I didn't have an extra. Okay, so this guy goes to this guy. This guy goes to this guy. Okay, I'm going to delete both of these just so I can see if the problem. So if I delete this and the problem goes away, the problem did not go away. So, oh, okay, the constructor. So, oh, I see the problem. The constructor wasn't closed. Okay, so we're going to hit Alt tab. We're going to left tab that so we can light that up. So let's see if we can figure everything out from this. We might need to go look at that. So material. So apparently you can just create a material with nothing. So let's go see how we create our material in the app. I knew I was going to have to do that. I'm really surprised you can do this, but it would be interesting. I mean, it's interesting to imagine what you get from that. Control F. Material. Okay, so this is mesh normal material. So that's what we really needed. And I'm actually very curious. And let's just copy this whole thing. back, and then Alt left. All right, so we're copying this whole thing. And over there in, okay, so the normal is automatically being handled by this piece. So I'm guessing if we were to create another one, we would do that. And then we want the side. And that is, how did we define that over in our material over here? So it can be three things. I guess we need to go up to ST Material and see what that is. Okay, so it's either a type of 3. I don't think we need this type of, but maybe. So that's our strong typing. We know what the Red just said, what the? You crack me up, Rhett. Okay, so love you too. Type. Okay, this is weird. Okay, I don't know what I just did. Okay, so let's go back here again. I will admit, I'm a bit confused at the moment. ST Material. Oh, I copied all of that. Okay, so I call it ST side, so I'm going to call it side. Here, let's just copy all of this. This would be a little easier. Okay, and I'm just going to call this side. And it's going to be one of those 3 sides, and then, oops, wrong one. I love you. Control X, and now we want this side up there to be there. You are a good girl, Rhett. And then, I love you, Rhett. There we go. So, and we actually can just do this. Well, let's do this first. I like to do this first. Side is side. Oops. And then we don't need that, so we can go there. And this is a sort of a, it's not really new anymore, but it is one of the more modern features of JavaScript, is that if it happens to be the same name, you don't have to do that. So basically there's 2 pieces of information that we need to know, that we are going to need to know, and we're going to need to know the type. And I believe the only thing it can be is a normal. And we don't use it right now, but we could say when we add a different, when we start supporting a different kind of type, we'll have that. All right, so now I feel like that should be there. And then I guess we should try to stay sort of consistent there. And then I feel like this is a little bit hard to read. So I'm just going to do this for now. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but so there is that. This thing takes a normal, and we'll just do that. And then I don't know if it should be there. Yeah, I guess it should be there. Nah, I guess it should be there. So this create material returns the ID that it just got. So, I don't know. That probably isn't very useful, but it might be. And then it passes in the type and the side, and it gives side first and type second, which I don't know when we set this up yesterday, if we did it, which way we did it. So let's see, ST Material service. And we said type inside. So let's just swap that around. I don't know a clever way to do this. I would love to, I can't think of a good way to not have to copy the comma and then delete the other comma. But anyway, so we pass in our, oh wait, wrong one. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, I don't need to do that. I don't know why I did that. We want to comment these two, and then what we want to do is, and I can cleverly do this one so I don't have to do any comma manipulation, but we want the side to be here. And that's good, and then that is weird. Material, I did the wrong one. Material service. And then, so it's upset that this 3 material missing following mesh normal material. Okay, so let's go look at this ST material. Okay, so it has to be a mesh normal material, which is what we do return right now, but it is not what we're always going to return. But I wonder if I can just say as. Yes, so now it's happy. So now it compiles and all that. Unfortunately, like unlike last time, whenever we finish up one of these pairs of work, we were able to just immediately use it. We can't now because I kind of started at a lower. Before, what I was starting at the top and then building out the things beneath it hierarchically. And so, I could use everything as I built it, which was probably the main advantage to doing it that way. But the disadvantage is I kept having to circle back as I added the children things in. Now I'm doing this, so I don't think I'll need to circle back. I think these will be done when I use them, but I can't use them until all the parents are done. So, so we can't really, get that sort of validation that I haven't made some sort of mistake. Which, like, if it was a lot of, like, let's say this was let's say I started at the very bottom of this hierarchy for the whole thing, there would probably be riddled with so many little just typing issues and small little mistakes that it could take days and days and days to sort them all out. Since all we were doing is material and then next will be geometry, and then we will use them inside of a mesh, and then we'll use that mesh inside of the scene, right? It'll work its way down. Like we start at the renderer. The renderer has a scene and a camera, and then the scene has meshes, and so we'll be able to do the meshes. One thing I do want to do is when I do the so we're like right with material, I just hard coded normal. That's all we support right now. So I'm hard coding the normal service. It's showing like a red. We're back to having an issue here. So we're hard coding a normal, but then the problem is that yeah, there we go. So but and it's fine, you know, because we don't have lights and we don't have stuff, so it makes sense to just hardcore code normal. But actually, I think that other kind of material doesn't require light. I can't remember. But anyways, we're hardcore coding normal, and the thing is I don't want to. I'm hoping to be able to add like a little bit of variation on these on the geometries, whether it's the size and width and all that of these, or maybe different kinds of geometries. I guess it's going to be different kinds of geometries. So in that one, I'll probably add like another layer, which I'll eventually need to add over here too, right? Like right now, I just in the create material, I get this in normal, but basically I'll add a create create normal material that if this is normal, it'll call a function that does this, and you know the other things that the other two kinds of materials, or I think also pictures and stuff like that. Like if I wanted to go do pictures, and like one thing I've always wanted to do is have like and I could never accomplish this in the other version that I built, but I would love to have where you have like images on in front of you and it sort of spins around you, and it seems like those advanced geometries where they have a bunch of sides might be perfect for that kind of visualization, so that you're inside of it and the whole thing is spinning, and you're rotating, and you're kind of looking in front of you and you're seeing whatever's on the plane that's in front of you, or the side that's in front of you. But anyways, what are we at? 27 minutes. I have to start work in 26 minutes. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.